Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 177. This is the Independent Musician's Guide to Production and Promotion, and I'm going to quickly, for those watching on the visuals, switch to this. Oh, where's our stars?
Did we
Our,
log in with it closed up? Give me a
our
sec.
stars are gone.
It's okay. No, it's all right. Just
That's all
keep
right.
talking. I'll
Curtis is going
find
to
it.
fix it, and then
I'll
I've got to
find it.
find out because Curtis seemed all excited right before we hit live, like something happened, and then I saw him go like, "Oh, the countdown's going. I won't mention it." So now it went black. What's going on? We
It's a
had it
black
for a
hole,
second.
dude. It's a black hole, dude. It's coming. Give me a
There we
sec. There we
go.
go.
We went to the black hole of the
We
stars,
did.
the final journey in this
We
long
did.
thing. But today we are talking something new from Bandcamp Clubs. Now, over on the Discord, this was a very interesting conversation. So we'll talk about it. I see Cresshead in the chat says for the poll that Curtis posted, explain, I have no idea. I'll vote yes for now. Well, that is the topic of the show. So we are going to talk about it, and we'll talk about it soon. But basically, Bandcamp's adding these I think it's 4 clubs that you can join, and it's like a monthly album or something like that. We'll get all into it, but I think, well, I don't know if you have the link in the description yet, but we'll put it in the chat when we get there. Also want to say hello to one of our patrons, Abby, also in the chat. Let us know what you're all up to. It's great to see you all, and with me today is Curtis. Now, I got to know, Curtis, what was all the excitement right before we hit live?
I saw. I just the PSA that we're doing today is about Ableton, and I was just looking at the header and what the studio looked like for Ableton's kind of like what do you call it, like flagship studio, and what it should be like. And not only do they have a lot of really cool analog gear in there, but they've got that wooden microtonal thing that we featured about 6 months ago, a
Was it
year ago.
Soma or something?
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one. That's the one,
Yeah.
and it's just
Man, I
there.
did not think my brain would remember that one. Wow.
Well played. You are a tired man as well, so well played for that one.
It's been a long week. So wow, that's just wedged deep in the brain there. That's crazy.
That's cool, but it looks cool. And I mean, I was just, and as you were pushing the button, my little kind of Tom and Jerry mischief mind was like, oh.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually really disappointed that's what it was. I thought this was gonna be some cool, huge thing, but it's pretty much a big nothing burger. All right. Sorry,
okay.
Chad, for leading you on with that. Blame Curtis. His excitement has
I get
ruined
excited.
us. No, it's okay, man. What's up?
It's chill. I've been going in the anti-production mode this week, for want of a better phrase. I don't like that so much, but yeah, it's been very much practice in being still, not filling my brain with noise, not listening to music, not listening to podcasts, not even reading, just sitting, being still, and taking the world in around me, breathing, and just, yeah, trying to be okay with being bored and trying to be okay with not doing anything, and just calming and stilling my mind. So I've been avoiding technology as much as possible, and just essentially just sitting on the floor in a dark room, breathing, and seeing where that gets me. So it's not much for a podcast, but that's kind of where
The anti-podcast.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly.
No, that's good.
That's where
Yeah,
I'm at.
I was we went up for the holiday weekend. We were up north and there was no internet, no cell reception, nothing. So it was really nice to be away from all of that. I brought the Seek track.
Nice.
And usually I don't bring gear. I just use my iPad, but I brought the Seek track, and my son and I, Luca and I, were playing with the Seek track, and he loved it. I found the Seek track has been really great for teaching. Like its layout, it's very like in front, like very just like press a button, you can start the step sequencers right there. Now, obviously, he's almost 2, so he's just jamming out. But he loved it. I was like, press this, and this is the synth, and he's like hitting it and jamming out to it, and there's the step changes and parameters and all that, and it was really fun. I actually really do like the Seek track from a like creation standpoint, just making ideas on it, and then I'll flesh it out on something else later. But it is a lot of fun. There's so many options with what's there that you can generate a pretty complex idea out of it.
That sounds awesome. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
what I would say a low barrier to entry in that sense. Like, if
It's
a
like
2-year-old is
350,
kind of
I
picking
think.
up and making sounds.
It's cheap too. I think unless tariffs, but it's like 350 or something.
That's not bad. I mean, that's
And it
similar
has
to
a
the
built-in
404.
speaker.
It has a built-in speaker. I'd love to see the low end on that one, but
It's non-existent, dude. To get it to work when we were up north, I had to just add some distortion to the kick, so it added some high end, so we could actually hear the 4 on the floor.
It makes sense. It'd be wonderful to see what happens when you drag that into your DAW.
Well, I would take off the distortion.
But that's cool. I mean, that sounds productive. Getting out, getting away from the hustle and bustle, going up to a ranch and just kind of playing and messing around, especially with the little one. You know, when they're
Yeah.
getting into that spray, coming up to 2 is a very impressionable age. You know, it's a good impression to place upon your child for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Get away
exactly.
from tech.
Yeah, in that sense.
Yeah.
Nice to get away from screens in that regard.
Yeah,
as well.
totally.
Exactly. Has it been a bit of a disjointed return?
Somewhat. Yeah, just very hectic getting back. Lots of work, lots of things to catch up on and stuff, but you get through it, you know.
That's okay. Is MIDI Mountain plugged in yet?
No. MIDI Mountain's not going to get plugged in for a while, and it's going to become, the idea for it is to become Sample Station, where just a ton of synths. I love how I still have to stick with the alliteration, right? I have to, but my goal here, because I want to get the Prophet back up and running, it's to just have synths on there, and just send that through the mixer into a sampler that's here on the desk, and then just like I can record sounds from it. But its purpose isn't necessarily for like performance, like live performance. It would be strictly for creating sounds to sample or record on top of things like that.
See, this is really interesting. I was thinking about you over the weekend in this regard as well. This notion of, okay, so when you first moved into the shed, MIDI Mountain was a thing, and it was a whole continuous project, and it was going to
It
be a
got
part
pretty
of life.
complex.
Right.
I was
exactly.
watching back because I'm making like a retrospective thing, and it was like I had the Digitac go into the sending MIDI to everything. Then the circuit tracks would also send MIDI out to some synth. Crazy. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Well, this kind of highlights my point, right? Like the notions of this big MIDI mountain with all these different directions and stuff. And I've got a similar thing over here just off camera, and in a similar vein to yours, it's been dismantled for quite a while. And I keep saying, "Oh, I'll rewire it. I'll get
There's
to it."
something about it, right?
But it's just something about I'm just
there's
not.
that block, like a brain block, where it's like the second you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, I could do that, or I could play drums.
Well, yeah, or
like I could DJ in your case, probably, or so, you know, like.
And it's. I wonder what that's about. At what point do you let go of those notions of what came before, right? So, okay,
I think we've already let it go, but we have a thought that we're still clung to the idea of it, right? Like we've let go of the need for it, right? We've gone to these more minimal setups, whatever have you, or whatever it is, but we still have the idea, like, well, it's all there, it should be up, or it should be operational, you know.
Or it's this notion of a waste, or it's a notion of letting or a previous chapter of our existence go, or then just going to gather dust or something like that. It's really interesting. I'd be curious to hear if anyone has had a similar vein, because similarly we tend to be on that same track. That notion of allowing that migration to a different space, a different way of producing, a different way of recording and making music, which, you know, be it sampling or be it learning the keyboard or learning something in particular, is almost more, should we say, quote unquote, musical in that sense, in the same way that a saxophonist would sit and play the saxophone. It's a really interesting kind of development that's occurred over the last kind of couple of years or so.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good to get rid of the idea that you have to have a set method or something like that, right? Like the album, my main album that I've been working on, the ambient one, is all DAW. Like all DAW, because I'm doing almost every song, if not every song, is in an odd time signature, like 7/4, 7/8, 5/8, like things like that. Because I'm going for this very like ethereal, dreamy vibe. So I was like, I want everything in those weird time signatures. So there's this kind of like, you know, something off, not off, but like there's it kind of like feels different when you're listening to it. But I didn't want to do that on Dallas gear, and then I wanted to be able to like quantize it if need be and stuff like that. So it's just all that, and I needed to do it quick. So I'm able to do sound design on all of the soft synths I have, quickly, and then save those parameters, reuse them. So it's just like that made sense. But then I also love to just go and record some guitar and drums into my sampler and chop them up, or flip some vinyl or something, So it's like, it's also, I think Eon Lake's spoken to this before, but when you feel like you're stuck in a creative rut or something, like I got writer's block, it's just like, use a different method,
Yeah.
work all in the DAW. If you normally do DAWless, feel uncomfortable in that, and then you can go from that. And then, or if you never play synthesizers, you program everything, do a whole song or album where everything is just hand performed and no quantized, just see where it goes, like just do these little differences. I do want to get to the chat though, but is there anything else you want to add there,
No,
Curtis?
I think I think you've hit the nail on the head, and yeah, you're going the same way that I was thinking. So,
But I think it's interesting that we're talking, like, we are clung to these old notions, right? And it's like,
and
why?
a part of it is a process in letting go of what was.
Yeah.
And I think, I think before Christmas or before winter, I spent a lot of time worrying about the amount that I was rewiring and recabling this place as opposed to making music.
I see your name.
And yeah, professional cable roller, exactly. And then I started kind of redoing it again. I was like, am I just procrastinating? Am I doing this? I'm like, no, you know what? It's time for something new. It's
Yeah.
time to just kind of move everything away. But anyway, get some chat and then we'll get in, because we're only here till 45 today.
All right. So I already mentioned we got Cresshead and our patron Abby in the chat. Fizz is also in the chat. What's going on? We've also got another patron, Mike. What is up? How are you? Let's see. Cresshead says, "Oh, we're live." Yes, we are. Welcome everybody. And on the topic of the Seek track, Cresshead says 3 of my tracks on the CD are Seek tracks, so that's pretty cool. Actually, yeah, that's awesome. Is it all like you made it on Seek track and then exported it, or did you also use? I think it's the EP133 you typically use too. And I agree with this. Cresshead says, "I really like the drum section and parameter locks on Seek track." Yeah, for sure. Nice. They also add the odd time signatures we were discussing, less regulated and not predictable. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like I always like to think it, like, especially 7/4, it almost has this stumbling feel to it when it restarts, because it's so close to 2 4/4s that you expect one more, like, a quarter note, but it doesn't. And it has a very dreamlike quality where it's like things change at times you don't expect it. I love that. And it's fun if you're trying to go for thematic things, like utilize, this is what we talk about with theory and stuff like that. Like if you're going for a theme, if you understand the theory behind like some sort of chord progression you want, or the time signatures and stuff, it can help you achieve that in ways you wouldn't necessarily think about or something. You don't need to know theory. I'm just in that discussion we always talk about the, what was it, the beginner's, what was that thing we
brain?
Beginner brain,
or beginner mind. Yeah,
beginner's mind, whatever. It's like, that's awesome too. You do things you normally wouldn't, but it is also really nice when you do know some of the, like when you keep learning these things and understand the mechanics behind it, when you can use those and it comes together to be like, this is what I've been thinking of. Like it finally makes sense. I wanted this dreamlike quality. Oh, okay. So I used this, I borrowed this chord because that gives it that dream sound, and then 7/4 or whatever. So yeah, there's no wrong way to do it. It's just, that's, to my point from that episode, that's just further why I like to do it that way.
Absolutely. It makes sense. And I think there is a balance to be struck with all of these things, right? Like it's good to go back to the beginning brain or the beginning mind.
I have a student in one of my music production students that does the craziest drum programming on a step sequencer, like the snare on the one, crazy hi-hat things and stuff like that. And like, I'm always like, I always think to be like, don't do that. And then I'm like, wait a second. No, do it. And then I listen to it now, because I'm like, no, the kick has to be on the one. It's got to ground it. And then I'm like, wait a second, this sounds so cool. Like, good. Okay, cool. And that's that beginner's mind. So yeah, there's a lot to be said about that too. So yeah,
absolutely. You got to give them a talk. I've learned, we kicked the year off at school, and I'm learning very quickly. It's not about trying to give them ideas for melody or for chord progressions or anything like this. It's just giving them tools to do what they
see where it goes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'll be like, well, do you want to, if they're like, this sounds weird, it's like, well, do you want to know why? And it's like, okay, we can talk about it, but
it's got to come from them, right?
If they're like, this sounds awesome, I'm like, yeah, it's awesome,
Well, Very much. Speaking of awesome, we'll get into it. Live 12. This is more of a PSA. It's not a segment. We're going to come back to it in a few weeks. But Ableton announced that Ableton 12.3 is incoming. I'm sure that Mike has already got part of the beta. Just to say it's out there, and we're going to be talking about it. And for anyone watching live or listening back, as soon as I can get a grips to it, we're going to be going through it. We'd like to know what it is that you want to find out more. It's a big update. Apparently, there's a lot going in there: stem separation, group bouncing, key detection, splice integration, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot going on, but we want to know what it is that you are interested in, so that when we get to it, we can kind of hone in on what you find interesting, what you find about it. This looks exciting. Finally, stem separation is coming to Ableton. It's been a minute. And I will say that when I saw the demonstration, it was only 4 tracks, and then I was looking at
that was what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, that was the thing,
Logic
right?
has that new piano and guitar one, which is awesome.
It's dope. It's really good. And I was looking
at the Logic. Have you used it
yet? Yeah, I've got Logic installed on my on this computer here.
Sick, yeah.
I only use it for stem separation. It is the best stem separation we got out there. But I am really curious as to what Live is going to do with 12.3.
I want to do a shootout between Logic. If Abby still has MPC, maybe they'd be willing to do, because I think they were the ones that did the MPC stems for us. But I would definitely want to see Logic's MPC, Ableton, and the little engine that can't koala stem separation. It's just abysmal. I love that they have it. It's awesome. I mean, it's
the little engine that could, right? Like you say. Like,
no, it cannot.
Come on.
Cannot.
Messed up, yeah.
It's there if you want to stay in the same key and not mess with it, because artifacting is all over the place. It'd be nice if, Koala's gotten some cool updates. They added the Quokka synth. They've added like a sample store where you can buy sample packs and stuff like that. I'd love if they would update their stem separation engine or stem splitting engine, because that thing's got to be like 4 or 5 years old, 3 years old, something like that. I don't know, but it's definitely, well, it was showing its age back then, I guess, but it's still, now it's very, very archaic in its splitting. And yeah, FL Studio Crest does have it as well. I think you have FL still, right? So we can, whenever this comes out, I don't know when it comes out. It sounds like either they haven't fully announced it or we just didn't get to it yet, but we'll do a shootout of all of those for sure. Logic, FL, Koala, and Ableton, obviously, to see. I really do like, for those that aren't familiar with Logic, their stem separation originally was the 4. And if you're not familiar with stem splitting or stem separation whatsoever, it isolates the audio, but it's not the audio tracks, but it makes separate audio tracks of several different instrument types. So typically it's drums, bass, other or melodic, and then vocals. Those are the usual 4, but then some of them, I think it's Rip X has a lot more nuance to it. And then Logic recently added guitar and piano separate from the other or melodic. So if you have and I tested it in a video, if you have a synth, a piano, and a guitar, it will separate all of them into their separate or respective stems, which is pretty crazy, especially because I was doing a lot of like 404 sim and stuff, like warping them up, adding lo-fi. So they got pretty like gridded up, and it still split them pretty well. The stem splitting is really cool. It's not just for sample flipping. Like I use it mostly for mixing. If I'm working DAWless, right, and I export a stereo 2-track jam and I go, oh man, the guitar was way too loud, or the drums need to be brought up. It's like, okay, it's just stem split it, mix it. I can add sidechain, all that type of stuff. So stem splitting is huge, and it's cool to see Ableton get it. Yeah, but we were talking like, when will Ableton get it? Well, it seems like it's going to be pretty soon. So there we go.
Exactly. I mean, there's a couple of questions here already, and we're like, this is just a PSA. We haven't got into it yet. But Cresshead is saying, for example, that 12.3 has stem separation. Is it internal, or does the internet go to split stems? Very good question. We're going to find out. Yeah. Mike says that Ableton's stem separation is quick, and that's great, and that's wonderful. Is it good quality? That's what we want to know, right? Logic is not the fastest, but it's very, very good. And for now, I'm standing on that hill. Not quite dying on that hill, but I'll stand on that hill.
I'm very interested to see what it does. I just like that it's Logic now has the extra piano and guitar, because that's huge.
Yeah, that is it. It does change the game somewhat, and it
Yeah.
does allow for a lot more to come through.
It's a
And
lot more mixing power. Or if you
yeah,
want like, oh man, that guitar is sick in this track, I'd love to flip that. Well, there it is, you know.
exactly, exactly. Abby says lovingly, and thank you ahead of time. I do. I have the studio version. Let me
Perfect.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome.
we'll be hitting you up. So yeah, once that drops and we can get a side of it, um, we will bring it to you guys and see what we're at. I think that'd be really exciting. So
I'm
yeah,
doing the Eon Lake.
yeah, go on, go on,
So
go on.
Mphys first says, I'm looking forward to Ableton stem separation. Never used it. I want to use it for mixing also. Yeah, it's huge for mixing, especially if you're coming from like the DAWless. Like I can get my side chaining that the SP can't do, or like one time I recorded guitar just like live over it. It's like, man, I need to fix the guitar was too loud. Stem split fixed. Where is it? I wanted to add though. Mphys says it has two settings, quick and high quality. Very cool.
Absolutely. And then Mike ahead of time, because Mike is part of the beta program. He did an A/B of Logic versus Ableton, and the differences, apart from 6 versus 4, are small in all capitals for those listening on Spotify. But
There are inherent biases there, though, so we'll have
yeah,
to see,
we'll
Mike.
have to see where that pans
But
out.
no, I bet it's high quality. I don't think Ableton would put out something that's like koala level.
No, absolutely
So
not.
I have no doubt it's going to sound great. I think one of the biggest things though is that it's hard for me to go back. I don't use Ableton, but it's hard for me to go back to any stem separation that's less than
4.
6. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is the
yeah,
4. Like
absolutely.
that's just. But it's still a massive stem separation's huge for mixing all that stuff. Or even if you're mastering for a client and you're like, oh, the mix, they don't want to send another mix, you can just quickly, fix something with stem split, whatever. So
Absolutely. So I'm loading up my Discord now, and I'm gonna put a link in our Discord because I'd like you guys listening to put your ideas into the discussion in maybe in production process in Discord, and let us know ahead of time what you want us to have a check out with. We'll have a look. I'm gonna have a look and see if I can get 12.3 as quick as possible. If the beta is now open, maybe I can do that in the next couple of days.
yeah.
We have Mike booked in for next week as we talk about generative music and generative MIDI inside the AWs. But maybe in the next couple of weeks that will give us a bit of a window to kind of work things out. So let us know. However, let's move across to our main event for the evening. How does that sound,
Let's
Sunwarper?
start with a huge thank you to all of our patrons who
Yeah.
keep the show's lights on and help us do more of all of this stuff. Just a massive thanks to all of you. If you also want to get additional channels on the Discord, monthly hangouts, have the ability to come on the show live and share your opinions on all the stuff we talk about, head to patreon.com/audionautic, or Eon Lake doesn't have to do his little pull up over this today, but the QR code is right there. So you can scan that if you're watching the video or watching it on Spotify. And then you can also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else, the link will be in the description. So head over there. And then also the Discord is also open to all. There's just additional channels for patrons, but we put a link to the Discord. If you want to talk more about Ableton stem splitting, or get gear, just talk about gear and all that type of stuff with people who understand what you're discussing and are excited about it as well, then head to the Discord and we'll see you over there.
Absolutely. Once again, thank you from me as well. Yeah, you guys keep the lights on. You keep us motivated, and you keep us with literally the ability to keep doing this every week. So, thank you. Really appreciate it. It creates possibility, creates accountability, and it creates consistency. And couldn't be more appreciative of everything you do.
Yeah. And with that, now, since we're a little short on time today. Oh,
one more thing,
yes,
because it is our birthday month, if you head across to patreon.com and put the code in 5 years, all caps, which is again in the description below, you can get 20% off a patronage, whether it be the $2 or whether it be the $10 tier, whatever, it goes for all of them. But yeah, just putting that in there as well very quickly.
I do just want to add as well, because we've gotten some comments on older videos. If you are listening to this back after about a week from when this released, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, the Discord link does expire. So just comment if you're able to comment on whatever platform you're on. and we'll send the updated link. Or you can find us on Instagram and Blue Sky, right? We're using Blue Sky primarily now, and I guess Threads, but yeah, Instagram and Blue Sky. Let's just say Instagram and Blue Sky for now. I didn't like that. For those not watching and listening, Curtis gave a very for Threads. So
I put stuff out on a Wednesday.
Yeah. So Blue Sky and Instagram. Anyways, we are a little short on time today. Unfortunately, Eon Lake couldn't be with us. We miss you, Eon Lake, but we'll see you next week. But let's move over to the main thing we want to discuss, and that's Bandcamp Clubs. Now, this came out, 2 days ago? They announced this?
Yeah, Monday.
Monday. Okay. So I was traveling. That's why I didn't see it much. But I'm still kind of processing my thoughts on it, so it'll be good to discuss it all. But Curtis, can you let us know what is going on with these Bandcamp Clubs?
Yeah, I can. So basically, sorry, I got you, bro. It's all good. I can, and I've just lost all my windows. Here we go. So basically, it's a subscription service right now. Right now, there are 4 there, and I'm assuming that there will be more. And essentially, if we, for example, actually, I'm gonna, there is this one. You can subscribe, a bit like the listening club or the collectors club, for labels. $13 a month. You would be able to subscribe to this person's curated playlist.
Sorry, is it 13 or $13.99?
It says $13.
Oh, okay. I thought I had saw $13.99, but I apologize.
No, I mean, again, you're seeing it from the United States. I'm seeing it from the Czech Republic. You never know. You never know.
You're seeing it though right now, and I don't trust my eyes right now. I'm too tired. So,
but there are these. So there's at the moment there's, for example, there's the Cosmos Club. There's the Hard Stuff, which is just coming up here, which is more kind of metal based and punk based and rock based. You've got, for example, jazzish jazz, which is kind of like the jazz lounge scene, for example. And yeah, essentially right now there are these 4 rocks. I'm going to leave it on this one just because I have a personal preference for it. And
psych and dub,
psychedelic and dub.
Do you think ambient falls into their electronica?
I hope so. That's the thing about ambient. Genre. Ambient always it's
that's
not
the thing anything. About these. This is my issue with this. These type of like genre gate kept definitions of genres and stuff like that. That's always where I run into.
Absolutely. Let me finish describing.
I know we're moving. But I know. I'm just saying that's kind of always my.
I hear you.
A teaser.
It's valid. And it's valid, you know. And so so for $13 a month, you can subscribe to this area, playlist, patronage, whatever you want to call it. You'll get a free album. Well, you get an album every month. You'll get posts by this curator. You will get an exclusive interview with the artist of the album that you receive every month, as well as other opportunities, behind the scenes stuff and early access stuff, that kind of thing. They're billing it. What did they bill it as? Let me just bring it up here.
It's something analog, right? I saw that. I was like, yeah, that's a searchable word.
Yes.
Trending word right now, with the algorithms and whatnot.
Yeah, behind the scenes insights, exclusive curator-led artist interview, access to live hosted listening parties. All at the heart of it is the curator's taste. And basically they're saying it's a music discovery at its most meaningful, expert-led, emotionally resonant and deeply human, which is amazing copy for a market where they're
English
trying to
major coming through.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing copy for those that they know are disenfranchised with the algorithmic ideas. And fine, sure, okay. If that's how you want to play it, that's okay. That's what the Bandcamp crowd are about. They're about human-led experiences, and this is them saying they're going to give us exactly what we're asking for in that regard. That's what this concept is. So. That's what it is. $13 a month right now. Right now, there's 4. I'm assuming there's going to be more. It rhymes, therefore it's true. So that's where we're at.
I want to add one thing to it. I think you're on the main page of it. If you scroll down under where it lists the 4 clubs, there's a thing said fueling an artist-first ecosystem. Bandcamp's artist-first model means every record of the month directly supports the artist who made it and the curator who selected it. Both are paid for their work and engagement, retaining full creative independence. When you join a club, you're actively supporting the artists, scenes, and culture that keep music alive. Now, from what I've seen, there's no listing of the split,
Yes.
right? But we can either assume this wording implies they get what they charge and then the club person receives the rest, or there's a different split involved or something like that. It's not very clear. Now we're looking at this as artists, so that's why I'm examining that. But what I don't see is, like a breakdown of like, yes, it says, hey, the artists get their share, the curator gets their share, but it's not saying who gets what, how much of the $13 is going to
Yeah.
who, so to
And
speak. They are also changing their payment plans from PayPal over to Stripe. There's some stuff with that since some countries don't use
excellent.
Stripe, so there's some
That's good.
long-term
That's
issues
good
with that.
thinking. I think that's a good place to start, because I think that was brought up in the Discord when we brought this to them on Monday. Because it's valid, right? They're saying that it's fully creative and independent driven, and that you're giving a voice to the artist. And a few people in the Discord really put it down right that
Yeah, we'll read some of those in a little bit.
this kind of, they're saying this, but there's not, at the moment at least, there's not much. There's a few eyebrows raised to the notion of, okay, that's what you say, but what does that mean in practice? How much are artists getting paid?
Yeah. What's the
Yeah.
rate?
How are they getting onto this? How are they falling on the radar of the people? All this stuff. Yeah. So that does remain to be a little bit.
See, I also have some wider thoughts on it. Okay. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts you want to share on it first? That you want to?
I think fundamentally, I think it's a step in the right direction from a wide perspective. I think it's definitely, on the face of it, part of me is thinking, are they just tapping into a market that is disenfranchised by streaming and they don't really care and they're just going to form another exploitative elitist group? Or are they genuinely trying to change and create an answer for something that we've been screaming for at least the last 3-4 years? I'm at the moment, my optimistic side is saying this is a step in the right direction for those like us who need it and want it. I just hope that they can provide the foundations that we need in order to believe in it, trust in it, and see it grow into something that's worthy of doing.
Yeah. So I guess stemming off of that, I think this is a really cool idea. Okay, like I think Bandcamp having these clubs is very cool. What I think I don't like is that it's, and this might just be due to its launch, but it's very contained, right? They chose the curators. There's 4 of them, and the curators choose the genres, and it's kind of up to their definitions of genres and all that, which I totally get. It's a person that's in charge of doing that. But Bandcamp for me has always been something about like the democratization of music, right? Where any artist can make it. You can use it. It's your website, whatever you want, and all that. You can have subscriptions on there. Like it's always been very artist centric. Like they say, artist first. What I think would be a lot more useful, especially for these more niche genres, because that's something that thrives on Bandcamp, are these very niche genres that are not mentioned whatsoever in these. Yeah, maybe blanket definition of electronica could constitute most of these or whatever, but there's tons of things you could think of that are genres that are very niche. And I think it would be cool if anybody could be able to do these clubs. Now that adds a whole thing, but I would think like labels doing clubs, which I guess could add some competition-ish stuff. But I think it would be very cool to see these communities that could create clubs for these more niche genres, that there are a lot of people that listen and stuff. It's just, yeah, obviously not as many as jazz or, metalcore or whatever have you. But I think that's what I would like to see is, yeah, like Chris had saying, it's not grassroots, it's top down. It's inherently very narrow gate kept, right? Like, and I get it. It's a launch of it. I'm not, I don't think it's a bad idea, and I don't think their rollout is necessarily bad, but I just think it would be a lot more Bandcamp-ish or esque if it was, hey, if you want to start this club, awesome. Here's how we do it. You can do it. And then if it grows, and all that. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too optimistic or something, but I think that would be the best way to go with it. And you've got the listening parties. I think that's awesome. Like the application of it is awesome, or the interface of it is very cool. I think it's very controlled, and yeah, I'd have to
I
think
get
more
that.
about how I would want to word it from there. But that's what I think about. That's like, it just feels very like, hey, these couple of genres, if you like those, you can join this, but otherwise, you got to discover it on your own.
I get that, and I think that's fair. I think it's a very valid thing. I think I yeah, their rollout could have been slightly different. I hear that. I'm also thinking about what are they trying to do. Like, okay, so for example,
Well,
Breastheads.
I just think like if you're trying to combat the algorithm idea, right, and stuff like that. Now
I
it's like,
think
and keep this whole idea of like you can find the music you want and stuff. I just think a larger base would make a lot more sense, and it would be a lot more like analog and finding, as they say, and all that stuff. Like, given their copy, it to me would make more sense with this like wider.
absolutely. I agree. I think there's things here. There's the market, and then there's the algorithm. I do feel like the algorithm is probably their secondary idea, and it's probably their secondary notion. If I'm looking at the people that they've created, so they have gone broad and they have gone big, right? And you're completely right that the artist centric. This doesn't really represent the artist centric notions of Bandcamp. You're completely correct. I wonder if what they are trying to do here is establish more of a space for people who are not used to Bandcamp, and they're trying to get people from Bandcamp, people who do rely on wider listening, if people who do listen to, for example, algorithmic playlists of jazz or ambient or hard metal or whatever. This is more of a tactile response. They're all Radio 6 DJs, for example. A lot of them are Radio 6 DJs, and that gives people who listen to the radio and are more used to being served music, so to speak, a bit of a gateway into discovering music. It's a starting point which allows the notions of maybe they are going to roll out for more people. Hopefully,
Yeah,
we can hope that they would. Maybe there could be an Audionautic club. You never know, right? That could be fun.
yeah.
But also, then that gives way naturally to the notion of combating the notions of algorithmic playlisting, human playlisting, as
I
Mike says.
I get it. I just think, one, it would make more sense if that was it. Why not allow it to be more open? But two, you have genres like ambient that those and lo-fi, right, that are massive on Spotify with huge followings, supposedly, or bots if you want to, whatever, but huge followings with artists making like full-time livings if they're able to keep staying on that like hamster wheel of the editorial and stuff like that. So in that sense, you're negating a huge swath of listeners if this is the intent, right? Like, we want the jazz people, that these people used to the curation. Well, ambient and lo-fi is mega curated based, or curation based on Spotify. So like,
It
that's my
is.
only thing. Yeah.
You're completely correct. Nothing. I don't disagree with anything you've said there. I think as much as lo-fi and ambient are big hitters in, say, the algorithmic world, they are the coffee shop, the background music, the neurodivergent long playlists for studying, for example. They're not active listeners, and Bandcamp is still maintains to be a place of
I'm not sure if
active
people
listening.
listening on the radio are active listeners either, to your original point.
I mean, I
It's kind of
perhaps
similar, where someone's just telling them that was so and so you just listened to. Next up is so and so. Okay, cool.
true. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. I think that there is, at the same time, these are rocks which people can get behind. I think
Yeah,
if
I
you
mean, they're
look,
popular, they're big, right? I just think
mm,
like ambient and lo-fi and stuff like that. It's pretty big on these even for that reason of, oh, it's for coffee shops and stuff like that. You could get those coffee shops to do this, like to
absolutely,
join that, and it would be this curated feed. But that's only an album a month and all that. I get it. It's an interesting rollout. I think it's cool. I think it's a good start. I just would hope we see it get more open.
I agree. I absolutely, and I don't. I personally, right now, what Cresshead says here when it comes to Bandcamp Club equals Spotify playlist. In a sense, yes, because we don't know where they're getting their curation from. We don't know what is influencing these guys. They could have a Tidal account, for example, and are listening on Tidal, and that's kind of another way of doing it. We could do that. It would be nice to see transparency. It would be nice to see something that was more open. It would be nice to see something that was more democratic, for sure. It's a good step in the right direction, I think.
Okay, the last thing I would add, now I haven't had a lot of time to run through all of this, so maybe you can correct me, but I do have to go. But is there a way to submit to these curators as an artist?
Not right now.
Okay.
I think it's, again, very closed
I think
doors.
we end it there then. That's I think that's another part that is key, because like Bandcamp Daily is always out of submission.
True, again, but I mean, at the same time, this notion of submitting and keeping that through, maybe it's, again, something that it would roll through. This is very much kind of branded based, which, you know, is a different direction which they're taking for sure. Yeah, maybe they will. You know, this is just a rollout. Maybe they will take it.
We'll see. I mean, maybe they won't. Maybe that's the way it's gonna be. It's just interesting. Anyways, we have got to go. It's been a good one. It's a short one. We apologize for that. We'll be back next week with a longer one. But if you have additional thoughts on this and on the Bandcamp Club, on Ableton Stem Split, or if you, like Mike, get a chance to test it out before it's officially released, let us know in the comments. Head over to the Discord. The link is in the description. And let us know what you're thinking about it all. And then we will be back next week at 11 a.m. Pacific. Anything you want to add before we go? I know we have to give it a buffer. So this is your buffer warning that it's going to end shortly. So it might cut off abruptly.
Just thank you very much for tuning in. Would love to keep this conversation flowing in the Discord. If you head down to the Discord, we'll keep this going. It's exciting nonetheless. It's something that's not happening in the algorithmic world, which gives us something different to talk about. So yeah, really curious to hear what you think and where you go. Maybe at the moment it seems like a no, but let's see kind of situation. And that's totally okay.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm still happy that we haven't seen like what we thought would happen with Bandcamp after all these purchases and stuff. Like everything they've added has seemed to be beneficial to neutral, or well, it could be beneficial. Let's see where it goes. So other than this Stripe thing, so kind of, you know, depending on what country you are, if they don't take Stripe or something. But yeah, so we'll just have to see. But let us know your thoughts. And with that, we will be back next week. Thanks for watching.